It's National Slap Your Irritating Coworker Day. How
Now
do you do that
you
when we're all working remotely?
exactly. You send them a meme, dude.
You do a little punch in the
Yeah,
team
slap
session.
in the
Yeah.
face.
I'm all for this, but why do it on a Saturday?
Yep, they got that one wrong.
Yeah, but like one of the days is gonna be Saturday, right? Because it will be a different day every year.
Well, I suppose you could always say it's the first Friday of October.
Okay.
You do it on a
whatever.
Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Friday, because you've had a whole week for the person
Yeah.
to really irritate.
But I mean, it's
Yeah.
like a public holiday. If it falls on a Saturday, it must be on a Friday.
And you have a carte blanche.
Yeah. Yeah.
Today is iPod Day.
Yeah, baby.
Do you guys have
National
an iPod?
iPod Day, not even international. All right, so iPods were announced. The first iPod player, it was called a player, was announced on this day in 2001. So it's 20 years ago today.
Wow.
Ish.
It's been
And did
20
you-
years.
Yeah, and did you know that there's a story behind that as well? That the guy that invented the MP3 player and took it to Apple, or
Yeah.
I could get my facts wrong, yeah. But
Yeah.
apparently, there's a story behind this that the guy that invented it didn't get the recognition that he was
You serious?
due. Yeah, he didn't have enough money to take out a worldwide patent, so he could only take a patent out, let's say, in America, but he couldn't take out a patent everywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah. Anyway,
It's that's hard because they sold 100 million devices in 6 years.
yeah,
Wow.
That's
yeah. Yeah, I heard.
Did you guys have an iPod?
I've never owned an iPod. No.
I had an iPod and a shuffle.
I also had an iPod.
The only
I still
Apple
have
device,
I still have my iPod.
only Apple device I've ever owned is an iPad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's hectic.
But my kids
I'm
were
sorry.
early adopters.
I'm sorry, dude.
They had iPod touches,
Yeah.
which I thought was actually a flipping good product.
Yeah.
Because I mean, effectively, it was an iPhone just without the cell phone,
Yeah.
this mobile,
Yeah.
functionality. And I mean, for like them as kids, they were at their stage where they were like, they were having pocket, they got pocket money and they were saving it up and they could buy themselves toys. At the end of the year, like we encouraged them, said, okay, 50% of your pocket money that we give you, you can use sweets, whatever you want to do. But then the
iPods,
other 50% you need to save, right? And then they realize, they get to the end of the year, they've got all this money saved, they can go buy themselves this toy that they want.
Yeah.
And then eventually they got to the point where they realized, but hang on a second, if I don't buy sweets and I save all of my money, at the end of the year I've got more money. Then they can buy themselves a more expensive toy. Then they eventually got to the point where, hang on a second, they want to get a Nintendo Switch or those Nintendo like Game Boy kind of things.
Yeah.
And then at that time I said to them, well, why don't you guys rather look at getting an iPod Touch? Because then you can have, because the problem with a Nintendo is that you can only buy Nintendo games,
Yeah.
right? Rather get the iPod Touch because then they always bring out new games. You can download a lot of them from the App Store. Some of them are free. Some of them you have to only pay a little bit, and you can listen to your music and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And it was actually, I think it was such an amazing product, the iPod Touch.
Well, they were criticized, Apple, around the iPod because it had it was so controlled that you couldn't share content, you couldn't share music.
Yeah.
You had to buy your music through
iTunes.
iTunes.
Yeah.
Yeah, even battery, everything about it, you had to have
Some things don't change.
Apple parts. Yeah, so they controlled it, and their whole reasoning was, well, this is how we ensure that it works every time as designed.
So I watched an interesting video about the new iPhone 13, where the guy purchased two identical iPhone 13s. All right. So what he did was he opened them up, he took out the motherboard from one, and put it into the other, just to see if it was going to boot. Identical iPods, same
Yeah.
generation, same basically parts, identical
Yeah.
in every way.
And
It didn't.
Uh-huh.
It didn't.
Okay.
hang on, bought in the same country.
Bought in the same country, in the same store, ordered from the same store. It's like two identical products, right? So what he was doing is like, because this is a guy that specializes in iPhone repairs,
Okay.
right? So he demonstrated, it's like, because he said previously that Apple uses soft lock and hard lock on their parts, in terms of how they design. And what he did was he basically switched the motherboards around, and when he switched it on, wouldn't recognize the screen, wouldn't recognize it was running in some sort of like safe mode. So you didn't have a full functionality of the iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fingerprint sensor wouldn't work, camera wouldn't work.
Wow.
Like, so, yeah, it's if you get an iPhone, it's going to be very hard to repair it by third-party providers, except if you send it to Apple.
Yeah, I think that's anti-competitive, in my view.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So even the screen, like, you can't just replace the screen.
But they'll find a way around it, dude.
Maybe eventually.
Because I mean, how do they make it that it's only works like that? It must be something at the
On the firmware level.
on the firmware level. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, that's crazy. Just going back to the iPod thing. I've just Googled it quickly. There's a guy by the name of Tony Fadell. He was a former employee of General Magic and Philips who wanted to invent a better MP3 player. After he had been turned down by Real Networks and Philips, he found support for his project with Apple. He was hired by Apple Computers as an independent contractor to lead a team of 30 people to develop a new MP3 player. So that's it. That was the guy that actually came up with the.
So he just
iPod.
had a salary. He didn't get compensated for his invention.
Yeah.
But didn't he later become, was hired at Apple and was involved in the first iPhone design?
Yeah, I suppose. But I mean, the thing is that, like, you think about it this way. If they hire you, like you come with an idea and they hire you, I mean, what do? They buy the rights to the whole thing. Wouldn't you rather be the person that comes up with a patent and licenses that patent?
But
to a company.
He needed
like
money
Apple.
to develop
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Like, so it's like he wanted to see his idea through. So you know the interesting thing is, this guy Tony Fadell, I think he was involved in creation of the first iPhone, because what Steve Jobs did is he put two teams together that work in complete isolation. They didn't know about each other's existence, and the idea was to come up with like an iPhone type prototype.
Yeah.
So one of the teams was led by this guy Tony Fadell, and the other team by somebody else. I don't remember. And what happened is that Tony Fadell's team actually lost out,
Oh, really?
and the other team came up with, the iPhone as we know, the first iPhone. And what happened was, during the unveiling of the first iPhone, that's when Tony Fadell actually knew that his prototype wasn't chosen.
Oh, yeah.
And then during the unveiling, Steve Jobs actually deleted Tony Fadell's number from the address book.
Yeah. Oh, where did I hear this? I heard this the other day.
This was like the first iPhone, and then basically,
this
was a sign that Tony Fadell was fired.
Oh, I was watching something the other day where they said that the guy found out that he had been fired by the fact that when Steve Jobs did the demo, he had deleted his...
That's Tony Fadell.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there we go.
There's another guy behind all this, is Johnny Eve.
I thought you were going to say Johnny English, but anyway.
Well, he is English, Johnny.
Okay. Johnny.
Well, he was one of those guys who was in the background as Steve Jobs, ran the show and did all the things that he did. But the actual designer, the product designer behind the iMac, the Power Mac, the G4 Cube, the iPod, the iPhone, the iPad, the MacBook, Apple Store design, Apple Park designs was this guy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and
Sweet.
he was just ticking away in the background making all this stuff. Because part of it is, you like it looks good, it feels good. It's appealing. It's not cumbersome tech
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
it was before.
Yeah.
It's very accessible. You don't need to know how it works to use it.
Yeah, geez, dude. Give an electronic device like an iPad to a 2-year-old. Or not even a 2-year-old. You'd be surprised at how quickly they pick up how that thing works.
Yeah.
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 Because
Does
it's
a
highly
2-year-old have a fingerprint?
Yeah.
it's highly intuitive and it's like accessible.
Facial recognition works today, doesn't work tomorrow. Ding.
Damn it. As kids grow up, we've got to get them new clothes, new everything, and a new iPad.
Yeah.
They grow up
You
so
got to wipe
fast,
the iPad every couple of weeks because, 10th attempt, wipe the device. Is there anything else interesting happening today?
Well, it's something I haven't really looked into, but on this day in 1998, Swatch
Yeah.
announces internet time. Now,
Wow.
well,
So-
wind forward a few years and talking about Apple, and they brought out their own watch.
Apple. I watch.
I used to take the piss out of my friends because it was like, it's a watch. It tells the time, but better. You know. So, do you get more precise time? Okay.
You get better
But
time.
hang on, Swatch, who were obviously working on our normal time clocks, and they were producing some great stuff in the day. Great entrance into the market at the time, and they're still doing well. Okay, and that was I won't go into the history of Swatch, but it's quite interesting. But this whole internet time, but we already have an internet time. All right,
Yeah.
this is what I don't get. But basically, considering that they rely on the normal timing methods that we use today and have been using for hundreds of years, the Swiss watch company invented a new unit of time called the beat,
Right.
which corresponds to 1 minute and 26.4 seconds.
That is random.
Under the internet time system, a day is divided into 1,000 beats. So they've gone metric on time.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And
That's
that's
cool.
now internet time. Well, no, that's just a different way of doing time.
Time, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only.
But I suppose it's all about branding, right? You're creating a.
Well, it
Just
must
come
have
up
been
with
a
the
marketing
idea.
thing.
Yeah. Sorry, it's all
1
about
minute.
marketing, not branding. All about marketing.
I mean, it's never going to take off. That's quite a slow beat, right? 1 minute and 26.4 seconds. Doof. You
Yeah.
know, if you're sitting at the drum machine, you're like, dish. Right.
So You know-
26.4. Poof.
you know what's an interesting thing is just like since you mentioned time, like last comment from me. I watched an interesting documentary on Netflix about time, you know, like and how we measure time. And there was a piece there about the NASA guy, an American astronaut, who spent a year in space. And he was one of 2 identical twins.
Oh, right.
So what they also measured is how fast he was aging. And after spending a year in space, he was actually 5 seconds younger than his... no, seriously, 5 seconds younger than his twin on Earth.
Oh, like I can believe that, but like, how do they quantify that?
Yeah,
How
but hang
do
on, they weren't
measure
born at exactly the same time.
time?
The born
One was going to be born a minute before or after, or
No,
however
no.
long it was.
But I suppose they took that into account.
They
you
took
know.
that into account. But
So
but-
does he look younger now?
yeah,
because he
he's actually
spent all that
5
time in
seconds
space.
younger. You can see.
How do you
crazy.
measure that? 5 second aged? Oh, you looked
So,
younger than your
so
brother.
the interesting thing is, you know, gravity has effect on time and
Yeah.
how quickly or slowly it flows.
Okay. Yeah.